Hi, everybody. How are we doing tonight? Sandeep, I want to say thank you so much. I am so honored to have your support. And I want to thank you for the brave battle you fought for the last 4 years, representing all of us when nobody else would. And I think it's going to make a difference. I appreciate you. And I cannot wait to help you win HD 66. We're going to do it together. And Jeremy, Mary, the rest of the CCDP staff, thank you so much for putting on this wonderful event. I'm honored to sponsor it. I'm so appreciative of the opportunity to talk to all of you tonight. I have served our federal government since college, and I've spent my life dedicated to the idea of service before self. I grew up in New York and Connecticut. My parents had long commutes, and they had longer hours. I watched them as they slaved. My mother was a career educator. My father started his own business in real estate. And any work ethic or standard for excellence that I have, I owe to them. And they're here tonight. By the time I got to the University of Pennsylvania, I knew I wanted to work in government. I majored in history and political science. I spent my junior year abroad at the London School of Economics, and I spent 2 summers working for Congress. First for Senator Dodd in D.C. on the Hill, and then again for Senator Schumer in his New York office. I was sure after graduation I was going to head back to Washington to pursue a career serving others. But early into my senior year, I watched in horror as the Twin Towers fell on September 11th. And I felt called to serve my country in a different way. And I found myself in the recruiter's office in West Philly, signing my life away to join the U.S. Air Force. And after 2 years of the most intense and competitive training of my life, I got my officer's bars, I got my aviator wings, and I moved to Texas. First in San Antonio for a year, and then in Abilene for 5 years. Good old Abilene. Before I knew it, I had deployed multiple times. First flying long-duration combat missions over Afghanistan, and then mission planning and briefing generals at the headquarters. And after 10 years of cross-country moves and deployments, I was seeking a more steady life for my 2 wonderful kids, Lucas and Anna, who are here tonight as well. I transferred off of active duty and into the National Guard, where I spent another 10 years, ultimately being promoted to Lieutenant Colonel and made commander of the largest squadron on base with almost 200 aircraft maintainers. At the same time, I successfully transitioned into the business world, where I spent over a decade helping companies grow, specializing in emerging technologies like lasers and drones. I've proved myself as an executive at both small and large companies, and I'm not going to lie, it was painful. But in my business career, I've traveled much of the globe, briefing senior government officials and business leaders from many, many different countries. I've traveled to the Capitol to brief congressional staffers and congressmen on the Hill, and I've traveled to the Pentagon to brief generals. I've done dozens of press interviews as an expert in my field, and while doing all of these things, I've certainly gotten to know, understand, and be friends with, and certainly learn how to negotiate with Republicans. But of all my accomplishments, I'm most proud of my family. My lovely wife, Courtney's over here. We're just ordinary people. We love this district, and we love this country, and we can't stand to see what's happening to it. And that's the reason I decided to run in the first place. But this isn't about me. It will take all of us to take our country back. And we can't do it as passionate individuals. We must form a winning Democratic team. part of that means we must focus on issues that enable us to win the general election. Issues that are hard to argue with. Issues that we can actually take back from the Republicans, who have given in to extremism, such as defense of the Constitution, due process for all, great public schools, healthy business competition, affordable health care, and secure retirements and veterans care. And I could go on. There are plenty to choose from. Let's face it, the Democratic Party has a bit of an identity crisis. We are divided and unpopular, particularly in the South. We are in desperate need of a rebrand, and I think the people in this room can do it. Woo! It's time for us to reestablish some core guiding principles that will bring us together, because nobody else is going to tell us. Guiding principles that will enable us to operate and win as a team. We must be welcoming and forgiving. A shelter for the oppressed, the abandoned, the hunted, the marginalized, and those who finally realize they were wrong to support MAGA. We must be peaceful and patriotic. We can't afford to look anti-American. We need to take our flag back, drape ourselves in it, just like the Civil Rights Movement did so successfully. Because we are the real patriots. We're the real patriots. We must be undaunted and indivisible. We cannot underestimate how difficult it will be to turn this district blue for the first time since 1968. We are outnumbered, we're out-resourced, but we cannot be afraid to use our voice. And we cannot let fringe issues divide us as Democrats. We can do no good for the world until we take our country back from the extreme and unethical leaders we have today. But above all, we must be the opposite of our MAGA opponents. Kind. Kind to our allies and kind to each other. The same way the best U.S. leaders have been. That's President Obama shaking my daughter's hand. What an incredible sign of dignity and grace that of all the people in the crowd, he chose the 3-year-old that had nothing to offer him in return to shake hands with. Which brings me back to this idea of service before self. I talk about service before self because so much of our modern society has become self-obsessed. I talk about service before self because more than ever before, Americans have lost their way when it comes to caring for their neighbors. I talk about service before self because so many of our senior leaders have become about winning at all costs, no matter who they have to lie to and no matter who gets hurt. But government jobs aren't meant to be about self-interest. They're meant to be about service. Service to your community, your constituents, and your country. So I can stand here and talk about myself, and if you want to know more about me or my background, I'm an open book. Feel free to ask me anything. But the only thing I need you to remember about me tonight is I'm here to serve you. And I'm ready to fight for our country, and I'm asking each of you to fight with me. There's no other time and place but here and now. There's nobody else to do it but you and me. If you're ready to join me, you can visit the website, get involved, and sign up for our 2 upcoming town hall fundraisers in June. And thank you again to the CCDP for hosting this event. Remember, this night is about them. Please donate. Thank you, and good night.